The stars above Sector Gamma were not merely points of light. They were meticulously catalogued assets on the universal ledger. Every asteroid field, every gas giant, every nascent star system held a valuation, meticulously calculated by the Chrono Corp. Their domain was vast, stretching across uncounted galaxies, a silent empire built not on conquest, but on time. They traded in it, invested in it, manipulated its very flow. Their central hub, the Chronos Nexus, was an impossible feat of engineering. It was a city carved from the heart of a dead star, its blackened, impossibly dense core hollowed out to house the pulsing heart of their operations. Inside, colossal chambers stretched for miles, bathed in the cool, indifferent glow of data streams. Here, ships weren't merely docked. They were stored, vast fleets of vessels ranging from sleek, silver-hulled traders to hulking, armored dreadnoughts, all suspended in localized time-dilation fields. They waited, silent, pristine, their crews in temporal stasis, ready to be deployed at the precise, profitable moment Chrono Corp dictated. The very air shimmered with the suppressed energy of billions of calculated seconds, bought, sold, and hoarded. It was a cold, magnificent monument to absolute control. For millennia, Chrono Corp had maintained galactic stability, ensuring predictable markets and the timely delivery of vital resources. Their influence was so pervasive, their wealth so immense, that they were less a corporation and more a silent, omnipresent force of nature. Yet, their grip had begun to tighten, subtle shifts in the market creating unexpected famines, manufactured delays leading to catastrophic wars, all orchestrated to optimize their temporal portfolios. The galaxy felt their cold, calculating hand. In the midst of this sterile grandeur lived Ilara. She was a Chronosian, like all who served within the Nexus, her people known for their innate connection to temporal rhythms. But Ilara was different. She wasn't an auditor of temporal dividends or a manager of frozen assets. She was a temporal artisan, a rare, almost forgotten craft. Her work involved tending to the most delicate anomalies, mending frayed temporal threads, ensuring the past remained fixed, the present flowed true, and the future unfolded as it should. She wore simple, unadorned Chronosian robes, her movements fluid and economical, carrying the quiet power of a river. Her eyes, pools of deep, thoughtful violet, held an ancient wisdom, reflecting the vastness of the moments she safeguarded. She was small in stature, easily overlooked amidst the towering krill auditors and the bustling human brokers, but her presence was a quiet, unshakable anchor. One cycle, while repairing a minor temporal echo from a distant trade dispute, a ripple of lost credits, a tiny blip on Chrono Corp's ledger, Ilara discovered something. A faint, almost imperceptible tremor in the timeline. It wasn't a natural anomaly. It was a deliberate, brutal wrenching. A temporal breach, far too large, far too violent to be accidental. And it originated from within the Nexus itself. She reported it to her superior, Master Vorlag, a Chronosian elder whose skin shimmered faintly with the accumulated temporal energy of centuries. Vorlag, his face a mask of concern, dismissed it. A calibration error, Ilara, the Nexus is vast. Minor fluctuations are unavoidable. But Ilara knew. Her connection to time was deeper, more intuitive than Vorlag's, dulled by years of managing temporal portfolios. The tremor was a scream, a tear, and it wasn't minor. It was a wound, a deliberate devaluation of galactic stability for a hidden, profound gain. Ignoring Vorlag, Ilara began her own quiet investigation. She navigated the immense, labyrinthine halls of the Nexus, the sheer scale of Chrono Corp's operations overwhelming her at every turn. She passed through hangars, so vast they contained entire nebulae simulations, their light casting shimmering reflections on the hulls of starships from 1,000 different eras, all motionless, waiting for their activation date. She saw colossal vaults where temporal investments lay dormant, seconds stretched into millennia, all for maximum yield. The air here was thick with the scent of recycled time, a metallic, sterile odor. She moved through the temporal marketplaces, vast open-air forums where species from across the galaxy negotiated for temporal contracts. A frantic, reptilian broker might argue over the interest rate of a 50-year future delivery of rare minerals. A sleek, metallic lumina trader would quietly buy up temporal options on emerging star systems, betting on their long-term growth. The stakes were immense, the profit margins often brutal. This was the true engine of Chrono Corp, and it ran on the quiet, calculated risk of stolen moments. Ilara saw the casual ruthlessness, the endless pursuit of profit, and felt a cold dread. This wasn't just about credits anymore. Her investigation led her to a restricted sector, a forbidden zone within the heart of the Nexus, protected by layers of temporal displacement fields. Only the highest-ranking Chronosians, the Time Lords of Chrono Corp, had access. Here, the air vibrated with a dissonant hum, a temporal distortion so profound it made Ilara's teeth ache. This was where the anomaly truly resonated. She discovered schematics. Hidden within encrypted Chrono Corp data streams, disguised as routine maintenance logs, were plans for a device. Not a device to store time, but to extract it. To drain it from entire regions of space, to create temporal voids. A temporal harvester. And the target listed was not a dead star or a barren nebula, but a vibrant, nascent star cluster teeming with developing life. The energy signature was immense, promising unprecedented yields. The implications were horrifying. This was not about economic stability, it was about catastrophic exploitation. This temporal harvester was a zero-sum game on a cosmic scale. To gain time in one place, they had to steal it from another, creating instability, even collapse, for immense, unregulated profits. The consequences for the harvested systems would be devastating. Rapid aging, premature stellar collapse, biological extinction. It was a form of temporal asset stripping, draining the future from countless civilizations for a massive, instantaneous gain. Ilara knew she couldn't face the Time Lords alone. Their power was absolute, their influence unchallenged. Her simple artistry was nothing against their calculated ruthlessness. She needed allies. She needed help from those who valued truth over profit. And she found them in the most unlikely of places, the shadow markets, the underbelly of the Nexus, where illicit temporal exchanges occurred. She found Kalen, a disgraced Xylosian data broker, living in the shadows, trading in unapproved temporal contracts. Kalen was sharp, cynical, his multifaceted eyes always scanning for an advantage, but he held a grudging respect for Ilara's honest craft. He was a veteran of the Galactic Ledger, a master of hidden transactions and the true cost of things. He knew how to move unseen in Chrono Corp's vast system. "You're mad, little artisan," Kalen rasped when Ilara showed him the schematics, his voice dry. "To expose Chrono Corp is to invite your own temporal erasure. Their stock valuation is untouchable. Their power, absolute. They can freeze you out of existence with a single command." "They are destroying the galaxy, Kalen," Ilara countered, her violet eyes burning with a quiet, fierce conviction. "For profit, for a single, massive temporal dividend. And you, of all people, know the true cost of unsustainable growth." Kalen sighed, rubbing his temple. "Unsustainable growth, that's a phrase I understand." It always leads to market collapse. Always, even on a galactic scale. He saw the truth in her eyes, the integrity that had been purged from Corp's ledgers. All right, temporal artisan, what's your plan? How do we expose the biggest financial power in the known universe? Their plan was audacious, a desperate gamble against the most powerful entity in the cosmos. They would use Kalen's mastery of illicit temporal flows to create a momentary market anomaly, a chaotic, impossible surge in temporal data. This anomaly, if timed perfectly, would expose the operation of the temporal harvester, forcing Corp's hand and revealing their devastating secret to the galaxy. It was a high-stakes informational arbitrage, betting on chaos to expose a truth. They needed help. Kalen reached out to his contacts in the shadow markets. Zephyr, a lithe, nimble Lumina collective trader known for his daring, high-risk temporal acquisitions, and Valerius, a grizzled, ancient reptilian broker who commanded loyalty among the fringes of galactic commerce, his scales scarred with centuries of dealing in uncertain futures. They were all outcasts from Corp's pristine, regulated markets, individuals who understood the true cost of unchecked power. A temporal surge so vast it exposes Corp's harvest, Valerius rumbled, his voice like grinding stone. That's like crashing the entire galactic market just to prove insider trading. The fallout could be catastrophic. The alternative is the slow death of entire star clusters. Ilara countered, her voice calm, yet resonating with the quiet power of her conviction. The market will recover. The stars once harvested will not. Zephyr, his bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with a nervous energy, piped up. But the risk, the cost of temporal arbitrage on this scale is immense. It could wipe us all from the timeline. Or it could free the galaxy, Kalen interjected, a rare, almost hopeful glint in his multifaceted eyes. Some assets are worth the risk, some debts must be paid. The plan was set. They would target the moment the temporal harvester was initiated, when its energy signature would briefly spike, creating the ripple that Ilara had first detected. Kalen would create the market anomaly, a temporal data bomb so vast it would overwhelm Corp's firewalls. Zephyr would open the hidden channels, ensuring the chaotic data reached the public galactic ledgers. And Valerius would use his network to distribute the evidence, planting the seed of suspicion where it could not be easily suppressed. Ilara, the quiet artisan, would be the anchor, ensuring the temporal surge was precise enough to expose, but not destroy, the fragile fabric of time. They rendezvoused at the edge of the forbidden sector. The sheer scale of the temporal harvester was terrifying. It wasn't a ship. It was a vast, sprawling construct of impossible angles and dark, absorbing materials, clinging to the edge of the nascent star cluster like a parasitic spider. Its surface pulsed with a faint, malevolent hum, drinking the very life force of young stars. Around it, Cop patrol vessels, sleek and silent, maintained a vigilant guard, their temporal stasis fields rendering them nearly invisible. The immense hangar they'd seen in the Nexus was just a single docking bay for this monstrosity. "The harvesting sequence has begun," Ilara whispered, her violet eyes wide, sensing the agonizing rip in the timeline. "They're drawing time from the nascent stars. It's like a cosmic bleed." Kalen's fingers flew across his console, injecting the temporal data bomb into Cop's network. Billions of fabricated temporal contracts, phantom future trades, and impossible temporal options flooded the market, creating a maelstrom of economic chaos. The galactic ledger began to flicker, its usually stable entries wildly fluctuating. It's working, Zephyr cried, his tendrils pulsing wildly with exhilaration. The market is breaking. Chronocop's firewalls are overwhelmed. But Chronocop was not idle. Alarms blared across the sector. Their patrol vessels, previously in stasis, burst into action, their temporal cannons charging, ready to freeze the rogue agents in time, to erase their descent from the timeline. They're targeting us, Valerius roared, his ancient scales bristling. Incoming temporal stasis fields. Their small, nimble ship, an illegal temporal runner Kalen had acquired, was fast, but it was nothing against Chronocop's military might. We need a distraction, Ilara shouted, her quiet voice now carrying a desperate urgency. Something to draw their attention away from the data flow. Kalen looked at Zephyr. Zephyr, you're the fastest. Take the decoy pod, draw their fire. Buy us time. Zephyr's luminous eyes met Kalen's, a silent understanding passing between them. He was a gambler, a risk-taker, but he was also loyal to the core. For freedom from Chronocop's chains, he whispered, a brilliant light flaring around him. He launched the decoy pod, a tiny, glowing projectile, directly into the path of the approaching Chronocop fleet. The Chronocop vessels, focused on the surging temporal anomaly, unleashed their temporal cannons on the decoy. A blinding flash of temporal energy consumed the pod, freezing it, shattering it into countless, non-existent moments. Zephyr was gone, his light extinguished, his sacrifice buying them precious, fleeting seconds. The data is out, Kalen yelled, his voice thick with grief. The galactic ledger is in chaos. The Council is receiving the anomalous data. But Valerius, piloting their ship with surprising agility, felt a new energy signature building. The harvester, it's increasing its draw. It's attempting to complete the harvest before they can be stopped. Ilara gasped. They're overstressing the timeline. The nascent stars, they're going critical. The system will collapse. The choice was clear. The data was out, but the system was still dying. They had to stop the harvester. Valerius, Ilara said, her voice quiet but firm, I need you to get us inside, direct contact with the harvester's core. I can sever its connection to the timeline, but it will take everything I have. Valerius nodded, his ancient eyes filled with grim resolve. To the heart of the beast, then. For the future of the stars. He piloted their ship, weaving through Chronocop's frantic defense, the massive temporal harvester looming before them, a monument to greed and destruction. It pulsed with sickening energy, draining life from the young stars, whose light began to flicker, their futures being stolen. They crashed through the harvester's outer hull, the impact reverberating through the small ship. The interior was a cavern of temporal machinery, vast conduits throbbing with raw, stolen time. Ilara, her hands glowing with an inner light, found the central temporal regulator, a colossal crystal pulsing with stolen moments. Kalen, Ilara whispered, her eyes wide, I can sever it. But the rebound, the temporal energies will be immense. It will be like pushing against the tide of a cosmic ocean. I might not survive. I know, Kalen said, his multifaceted eyes filled with a raw, desperate love. He reached out, taking her hand, his own trembling. But the galaxy needs you. Ilara shook her head. The galaxy needs the stars to burn, Kalen. It needs its future. I am merely a conduit. Tell them the true cost of time. She focused all her will, all her innate Chronosian power, on the central regulator. Her body began to shimmer, her violet eyes blazing with an intense, blue-white light. She pushed against the torrent of stolen time, her quiet power battling the monstrous greed of Chronocop. A guttural scream tore from her throat as she fought, not against an enemy, but against the very flow of time itself. On the bridge, Valerius watched as Ilara's form began to dissolve, her essence becoming pure light, pure temporal energy. "She's doing it," Valerius roared, his voice filled with awe. "The Harvester's core signature is dropping." With a blinding flash, Ilara vanished, her light consumed by the very act of saving the timeline. The temporal harvester shuddered, groaned, and then its pulsating hum ceased. The stolen light from the nascent stars rushed back, reinvigorating them, their futures restored. The cosmic bleed was stopped. Kalen, left alone on the bridge, stared at the spot where Ilara had been, his hands still outstretched, a profound emptiness aching in his core. She was gone. The quiet artisan who saw the true cost of time had paid the ultimate price. The galaxy erupted. The anomalous temporal data, distributed by Valerius's network, flooded public ledgers. Chrono-Cop's stock plummeted, their temporal portfolios collapsing as their illicit gains were exposed. Their time lords, revealed as ruthless manipulators of galactic prosperity, faced unprecedented charges of temporal asset stripping and cosmic destabilization. The spectacle of their downfall was immense, watched by billions across the stars. Their grand, time-frozen hangars became mausoleums, their ships dormant, their empire crumbling. Valerius, his ancient scales now seeming to glow with a quiet pride, stood before the Galactic Council. Chrono-Cop's reign of temporal manipulation is over, but the cost was immense. We lost Ilara, the temporal artisan, and Zephyr, the brave Lumina trader. They chose the future of the stars over their own existence. Kalen, now hailed as a hero, stood beside Valerius, his multifaceted eyes filled with a quiet grief. He had been offered a position on the newly formed Galactic Temporal Integrity Commission, overseeing the careful flow of time, ensuring such manipulation could never happen again. He accepted, but his heart ached for the quiet artisan who had seen the cosmic ledger in a way no one else could. The nascent star cluster, once destined for temporal collapse, now blossomed with renewed light, its future secured. Its name was changed to the Ilara Nebula, a celestial monument to the small, powerful woman who had understood the true value of time, not as an asset to be hoarded, but as a living, precious gift to be protected. Kalen would often visit the nebula, his ship a silent vigil in its glowing heart. He would sit, tracing the faint, shifting lines of time, listening for the quiet hum of a restored future. He never saw Ilara again, but sometimes, in the gentle ebb and flow of the temporal currents, he felt a faint, warm presence, a reminder that some assets, though seemingly lost, simply transcended the ledger, becoming eternal. Her quiet power had saved the galaxy, ensuring that for all time, the stars would continue to burn.